My name is DeMeeko Williams. I am the co-founder, chief coordinator, and the political director of the Detroit Water Brigade. We're a rapid relief response group that provides water and advocacy services to Detroiters that have had their water shut off. We're also at a consultation. We provide people with consultation on their water bills, and we would take them down to the Detroit Water Department to get on a payment plan that's affordable.
So what has been the status and the effect of the Detroit Water Brigade dealing with the water shutoffs? How successful, or how's the response been?
Well, we have been most definitely successful. Our model is being used around the country. We've been involved in national, international. We've been to Ireland, testifying before the Irish Parliament and their residents about Detroit and going through privatization. We've been to California. We also been up to Toledo, and anywhere that water is being threatened, so most definitely I give shout outs to the people in Baltimore that is dealing with this crisis, as well as those in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and others, in California. Water is a human right. We believe that, with that comes love, empathy, and compassion, for our neighbors. This is neighbors helping neighbors, Detroiters helping Detroiters. We're all a part of this community, and to deny people water, or to be told that you have to pay for this water or you can't have it, it's absurd. You can't compete with Mother Nature. Everything has its seasons, and this season we're definitely going to be back out in the streets. We're going to do direct action. We're going to do canvassing. We're going to get more people involved locally. It was good to have everyone in the nation, and thanks to all that supported the Detroit Water Brigade previously, but now we're going to bring the focus of Detroiters. You will see Detroiters, those with their water shut off, those that are making a difference in the community, those that are unsung heroes, that don't get much recognition. They will be featured. We're still going to be fighting against the water shutoffs. We're going to advocate for affordable payment plans, implement the water affordability plan, which was passed in 2005 by the Detroit City Council and the mayor. That was taken away from us in 2010 because of the corporate colonization and takeover of the city of Detroit. Anytime when you're shutting off water on residents that lived here to make way for gentrification, that is a problem. Anytime you shut off water to those elderly homeowners, City of Detroit pension retirees that just got everything cleaned out from up under them, and now they're in the bread line with their water shut off, no help, no opportunity, and that's what we're fighting back against. We're fighting back against oppression. We're fighting back against those that want to take those corporate titans, or so-called corporate crooks, that took away from our, very vitality. Water should not be privatized. It should not be commodified. It should not be put on a price. It should be affordable for all of us. Like Ireland, they're fighting because of the taxes being raised on water. We're fighting because we're having water taken away from us, and it's not being affordable. There's no way around it, which is say, either you pay these bills, but we're not responsible for the city of Detroit, the water department, and its corruption, mismanagement, and all these things that have happened over the past couple of years. Residents are not responsible. Take a look at me. You can't judge me personally no more than I could judge you. Who are you to judge and to dictate if I should have water or not? We all are human beings. Water is life. So what we're doing here is that, I think what you're going to see this summer is more awareness, more activity, more direct actions, because last year we were in a crisis. It's still a crisis. 15,000 homes are slated to go without water. 800 water shutoffs a day starting Monday. And we are standing up, and we are going to block the Homrich shutoff trucks that are shutting off people's water. We're going to form a group of angels around the homes that are affected, and we're going to make Detroiters fight back. because Detroiters have to stand up. And when Detroiters stand up, the whole country will stand up. Shout out to the people in Baltimore. Shout out to the people all across the country fighting for water rights, fighting against income inequality, and fighting against those that are willing to destroy, steal, and take from all of what we have. You know, we're normal, common people, but we all love each other, and that's the number one thing that brings this whole equation together is love.
What would you say to those who, again, maybe looking at the situation without a full understanding, as somebody as yourself has, that say, well, why don't they just pay their water bills? Why don't, and have this short-sighted?
There's been a problem where people are saying, oh, why don't they just pay their water bill? Those lazy degenerates. Detroiters paid their water bills. Every 3 months, the water bills came and they were paid. They were between $40 to $50. Now they're up to $150 or more, and we cannot afford that. How could you pay the same rate? Cable, no one has cable here in the city of Detroit. I mean, poor people don't really even watch TV for that matter. They don't have a cell phone. 40% of the population lives under the poverty line, under $150,000. So exactly what are you saying? How can they pay? How can you squeeze blood from a turnip if it don't have anything left out of it? So to those people, I just say you need to have compassion. You need to have a heart. Hearts and minds matter in this situation. It's not about, if people were paying because the water department was screwing up, they should have done what they were supposed to do a long time ago, what we paid them to do. How damning is it to find out that 99% of people we helped get on payment plans to get out of this situation is now back in the same situation over again. 3 of our major sports stadiums, Ford Field, Comerica Park, and Joe Louis Arena, owe big amounts of money. Corporate people that have contracts with the city of Detroit, who do business of vendoring with the city of Detroit, owe the most debt, and they're not going after those people the same way that they're going after residents. They're not going after the corporations, Big Tony and all his friends. Corporations are not people. That's number one. If it was any one of us, we don't have lawyers. We don't have representation that we can delay and draw down. We just found out that 2 of the biggest churches owed money, and they were forgiven for their debts. You want to know how they were forgiven? They gave the mayor support when he was running for election. Okay? They gave the mayor they sold out for the mayor, so the mayor looked out for them. Now, what does that say for people like me and others in this community that is facing water shutoffs that could devastate and paralyze a whole neighborhood? This is the House of Help Community Center. This is one of our resource hubs on the west side. Hardest hit neighborhood of 7 Mile, Telegraph, Grand River area. Water shutoffs have been rampant. People moved out of the community and it just succumbed over the past 10 years. This is a beautiful neighborhood. My young people here, they come out to help me every week, every Thursday, and I'm so proud of them, especially the young men, because we don't have young people that are involved, and my mission is making sure that very good, sweetie. My mission is to make sure that young people are involved in the process, that they're having fun, but they're also contributing back to their community. And this is what the House of Help Community Center has done for so many years. It has a food giveaway program every Thursday. 200 families come out, and grab food along with the word, and we're just blessing lives and helping people. The Detroit Water Brigade started here 6 months ago. We signed up a majority of the people that reside here at the House of Help, but Pastor Ray and Tony Anderson has been wonderful, gracious hosts, teaching us, the real meaning of getting involved and having faith in the community. So everything is just, going marvelous. We just need a little bit more community support, so we're working on building local power and sponsorship so that, we can send kids, to the Detroit Zoo. We can give people an opportunity to plant in the garden and to clean up their own communities, not just one day, but every other day or every other week. That's just how we do it.
What can you tell us about today's event particularly?
Today's event was about Motor City Makeover, but today's event was more about reaching out to the community, cleaning up We got sick and tired of all of the debris, and it was just looking like, a pigsty around here in this neighborhood. So we got together. Detroit Lions player DeAndre Levy came out. He showed us some support for the Detroit Water Brigade, and he played a little bit of tackle football with the kids, and everything was beautiful. This is what community looks like, and we're waging love. We could be angry, we could be upset, and we can blame others, but we decided to take in our own hands and to give back to the community. This is what the House of Help is all about, the Detroit Water Brigade, and most of the volunteers that you see before you today. This used to be a former school owned by the Detroit Public Schools. Pastor Ray took the lease, and he made this a community center. He wanted to see improvements, because this school was being ripped out and everything. He put about $80,000 worth of work into this building from donations and people, of his contacts. And this is one of the classrooms where they have like trainings and certain stuff like that go on, which is pretty awesome because, when we have direct action trainings, when we have informational sessions at town halls, we usually do it here. When they do the food pantry, they have everything set up like, they have like over 200 donations or more, by Forgotten Harvest. That's one of their sponsors. And they do a good job in making sure the community is fed. So out here, when this was a school, this used to be a playground. When the city went through budget cuts a couple of years ago, when the school closed, the city came and they took out all the playscapes. And it used to be a playscape right in the middle of there. Used to be a jungle gym over there, monkey bars, all the stuff for the kids to play. And they came and snatched it out. I fought hard trying to stop that action, but it's so hard when you don't have, when you have enough community people, but they still don't respect you. So they took all of the playscapes and stuff out of here. We're working with some partners to rebuild, like a community garden, enchanted forest, for people to, have a nice time and for the kids to play, fools, football, soccer, baseball, the whole 9 yards. And the thing about it is that, young people don't have any recreation. That's why they're in the drugs. That's why they're in the streets. That's why they're terrorizing, robbing, and all these other things. If we give them something to do, which Pastor Ray has been doing, for the past 2-3 years, doing youth ministries and also, getting young people involved in like action, more being positive instead of joining gangs and being involved in negative activity.